Hello, I'm Monica Haynes-Benketta, Public Involvement Coordinator for the Baltimore Regional Transportation Board. On behalf of the BRTB, I want to thank you for listening to this recording to learn more about the draft 2026 to 2029 Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP, and the associated Air Quality Conformity Determination, or Air Quality Report. Both of these important documents are open for review and public comment through Sunday, June 15th. The purpose of this recording is to give you a chance to learn more about the key projects and funding for the TIP. I'm joined here by two colleagues from the Baltimore Metropolitan Council. Ms. Endamazia Funkum will provide a detailed overview of the TIP, and Ms. Anna Marshall will share information on the air quality conformity determination. I will join you again at the end to share how you can give public comments. Now I'm going to turn it over to Endamazia.
So much, Monica. My name is Endamazia Fonkum, and I am a transportation planner at BMC, and I manage the Transportation Improvement Program, or the TIP. I'll be giving a brief overview of what the TIP is and a broad summary of what's included in the new 2026-2029 TIP. I'll also share highlights from a story map that you can take your time to look through later, and information will be shared on how to get to this and our public involvement pages. So the TIP includes all federally funded and regionally significant projects that have funding over the next 4 fiscal years. Federally funded projects are those that receive funds from either the Federal Highway Administration or the Federal Transit Administration. Regionally significant projects are those that may not necessarily be federally funded, but are of regional importance. So this year, there are 172 projects in the 2026-2029 TIP, 9 of which are new. The TIP programs a total of $6.2 billion in federal, state, toll revenue, and local money. 52% of those funds are federal, and 17% are state and local funding. Toll revenues account for the remaining 30%. Program funds go towards all types of transportation projects, including highway, transit, bicycle, and pedestrian. And the projects in the TIP are focused on operating and maintaining our transportation system here in the region. This graphic shows how we group projects in the TIP by category. As you can see, this year we have 10 different funding categories, with the largest being highway preservation, with about 50% of the program TIP money. The next largest category is transit preservation at 14.2%. Highway capacity is next at roughly 8.6%, followed by ports at 5.8%. Transit capacity comes in at 2.3, and smaller amounts are in emissions reduction strategy, commuter rail preservation, and so on. You can also see the number of projects in each category by looking at this graph here. We also show a breakdown of funding by project sponsor or agency. The largest source of program funds is the Maryland Transportation Authority with nearly $2 billion, followed by the Maryland Department of Transportation's State Highway Administration with about $1.6 billion. You can see what the other agencies and jurisdictions have programmed as well. The teal color represents federal funding, and the green represents state funding. Orange is from toll revenue, and blue is from local project funding. This map here shows all the projects in the TIP that can be mapped. If you click on the icon in the lower left corner, it brings up the map legend where you can see what each of the different colored dots represents, as well as the lines and different color shading. For example, the red dots represent highway preservation projects, or the purple lines represent emissions reductions projects. You can also click on the dot or line, and it'll bring up a new window with all of the project information. I mentioned earlier that this map only shows projects that can be mapped. There are a number of regional or area-wide projects that cannot be pinpointed to a single location. They are, however, included in the TIP document. Now I'll share a brief snapshot of 3 significant projects from around the region that I'd like to highlight, starting with the Odenton Mark Transit-Oriented Development Project in Anne Arundel County. This is a project that Anne Arundel County is partnering with the State Department of Transportation with to develop a multi-phase approach surrounding the Odenton Mark Station. The first phase will construct a 1,000-car garage in place of current surface parking lots, which frees up space for further transit-oriented development. Again, you can click on the dot and it'll bring up all the project information. Next, in Howard County, the $25 million Snowden River Parkway project from Broken Land Parkway to Oakland Mills Road will be completed completely with local funds. The project will include multimodal improvements such as pathways, sidewalks, crosswalks, and vehicle enhancements. Currently, Howard County is conducting a traffic study to guide decisions on final design elements, and the project is expected to be open to traffic in 2030. Finally, the Maryland Transportation Authority will reconstruct the Francis Scott Key Bridge, which collapsed in 2024. The new bridge will reconnect I-695 and will allow trucks moving freight to and from the Port of Baltimore a more efficient route. Reconstruction of this bridge is vital to the economic development of the region. The Maryland Transportation Authority expects this project to be completed in 2028. So without going into every single project, I wanted to let you know you can also explore projects by category. If you're looking for specific projects that fall under a certain category, like transit or highways and bridges, you can click on any of the projects shown just by clicking on each of their information boxes. So that's a quick overview of the TIP process and a look of some of the major projects included in the 2026-2029 TIP. At this time, I'll turn the presentation over to Anna Marshall.
Thank you so much, Endemazia. As mentioned, I am Anna Marshall, Senior Environmental Planner at Baltimore Metropolitan Council, and I lead the air quality conformity determination process for the BRTB. First of all, the Baltimore region does not meet the national standard for ozone, an air pollutant, and so it must review its current transportation plans and programs to ensure conformity with the State Air Quality Implementation Plan, also known as the SIP. Ozone or smog is caused by a chemical reaction between sunlight and emissions from cars and trucks. High levels of ozone in the air can trigger health reactions in sensitive populations. The state establishes a plan for how the Baltimore region will achieve ozone standards and sets emission budgets for two pollutants called volatile organic compounds and nitrogen oxides, also known as VOCs and NOx emissions. These are the main contributors to ozone, so they are important to monitor. The air quality conformity document details an analysis of the Baltimore region mobile source emissions as a result of implementing the 2026 to 2029 TIP. Mobile source emissions comes from cars, trucks, buses, and any other gas-powered vehicle that travels on our roads. Next, I'll go over some of the highlights of the document. Staff from BMC and the Maryland Department of Environment, or MDE, use the Motor Vehicle Emissions Simulator model, also called the MOVES model, to analyze the amount of emissions from vehicle travel associated with the projects in the TIP. The analysis includes socioeconomic forecasts like population, housing, and employment numbers. The document also addresses VOC and NOx emissions, which contribute to ozone pollution, and current data about the types of vehicles, fuel, and weather are used as input into the model. Modeled emissions for the TIP are measuring below the emission budgets set in the SIP. And therefore, implementing these projects in the draft TIP will not cause any new air quality violations, worsening existing violations, or delay the attainment of national ambient air quality standards. So why is this air quality analysis needed? It is a requirement under the Clean Air Act for urban areas that do not meet the standards. And the Baltimore region is currently in a serious non-attainment area for the ozone standard that was set in 2015. In conclusion, you can take a look at these tables here that are showing that implementing the projects in the TIP result in emissions measuring below the budgeted amounts. And you can check out the specific numbers here, or you can follow the links in the story map to learn more. And I will now turn it back over to Monica to wrap up our presentation.
Thank you so much, Anna. So, before the TIP and conformity determination can be approved, the public is given the opportunity to review and comment. So we have got over $6 billion worth of transportation investments and improvements that are being planned that will shape our region's future for decades to come. So we really want to know what you think. Please check out the projects in this story map at yourregionyourvoice.org/brtb-tip. You can navigate to a nearby project represented by a dot or a line and select it to see project details. And then there are a few different ways to comment. At our project website at yourregionyourvoice.org/brtb-tip, you can take our survey, or you can text the keyword BRTB-tip to 1-855-925-2801 with the keyword BRTB tip, and you can take a survey that way. You can also leave us a voicemail at 1-855-925-2801, extension 11470. Or you can email us at brtb-tip@publicinput.com. So all comments are welcome through Sunday, June 15th. And prior to a vote on July 22nd, the BRTB will review all the comments and consider how they can incorporate those into the final draft before they vote at the end of July. So we really hope that you take some time to take a look at this story map and the document on our website at yourregionyourvoice.org/brtb-tip. And if you have any questions, please give us a call at the voicemail number there and leave us a voicemail or send us an email, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen to this recording, and we do hope to hear from you. Thanks so much.